Last winter something astonishing, something extraordinary happened to me in this forest. This documentary examines the greater questions surrounding what happened. All of the characters in this story are real.
Here we are in the Balingup forest with conditions ideal for fungus growth. This is the time of the year for mushrooms and toadstools. The trees, the grass, the dampness, everything is right for them to fruit. And amongst these little toadstools on the ground are to be found the little brown mushroom, the most famous of which are the psilocybe mushrooms or magic mushrooms. And this is the reason why at this time you'll see furtive figures in the background searching for these little treasures.
I came to live in Balingup about 10 years ago. As far as I know, there were no mushroom pickers then. They started about 3 or 4 years ago, and the numbers have been building up steadily. Last year was a really bad year for lots of people.
Each vehicle that's stopped will be numbering it. There's provision at the rego, the sort of vehicle, observation, time it was stopped. So
I guess I'm grateful for that presence just because of the trespassing issues that are involved. Matter of fact, I even called the police and thanked them this week.
Where will you be, Barry?
I'll be here.
Back here. So you want the vehicles brought back here?
Back here.
Around the side.
Back here.
The 3 cars that are up there now, there's a white ute, a little mustard yellow station wagon.
Even the alternatives in this community were banding together to try and sort of stomp it down a little bit. You know. And we were, a few people were actually helping the police, taking number plates.
8A something or other, those 3 there. So whoever goes and sits there now is going to have to be wary of those coming through until we get communications established.
We'll grab the keys to the silver car and you can go down and do what you have to do now. Right, and then yeah, see Peter first.
Having broken the rule, this sort of great divide of being a non-drug user into being a drug user, what then happens is that you sort of throw away a lot of the messages, the health messages, and you actually become more deviant in many ways because you've learned that you can break this law, the world doesn't crash in around your feet, so therefore you tend to go on and do and break and transgress other rules as well.
If Mick lets us know,
He'll let us know when they're coming.
One of us can creep down this road here.
Well, we'll grab the first one.
Yep. As soon as you get back there, he can move in here and take over the second car here.
Yeah, just tell him that there's a little bit of movement going on, mate. Just to stand by.
No, this isn't happening.
Socks too, mate.
Okay.
Stay there.
Which one, mate?
Stay there, mate. Stay there. Stay there.
Got a badge?
Well, that's all I want to know. All I was an honest answer. Right.
That's what the police are doing, is having a good day out and enjoying the fact that they're enforcing the law. This is done in a discriminatory manner because when you look at the convictions for possession of magic mushrooms, if you're driving a Mercedes, you don't get your dashboard searched or you don't get your boot searched. If you're driving an old Holden or an old Kingswood, you certainly will. So the police enforce this law in a highly arbitrary fashion, and we know that the sort of person that's likely to be busted for any drug offence is likely to be predominantly male, working class, unemployed, and who are the traditional enemies of the police force.
The active drug found in magic mushrooms is psilocin or psilocybin. These chemicals are very similar in their structure to LSD. They act on the central part of the brain, on the brain stem and the cerebral cortex. In those parts of the brain there are receptors, and these receptors have the drug act on them and they're stimulated. The normal chemicals which act on the receptors is 5-HT or serotonin, but psilocybin or psilocin can act on these receptors, stimulate them and produce the hallucinogenic effect.
Pursuant to the Misuse of Drugs Act, it is an offence, a criminal offence, to possess psilocybin or to have anything with psilocybin in it in your possession. If you are convicted of the offence of having a substance with psilocybin in it in your possession, you will be dealt with in a court of petty sessions before a magistrate, and under the provisions of the Misuse of Drugs Act, penalties are provided of a fine of $2,000 or 2 years imprisonment or both.
In fact, I think these laws are a bit silly because the fact that it's our choice whether we decide to eat these cybins ourselves.
I like to say good day to my father and it's God's garden and I choose to eat it.
And it was 150 bucks. Most expensive mushroom I ever didn't eat.
Let's find one of these magic mushrooms and have a look at it to see what its characteristics are. Now, there's a little group of them growing down here, and we'll pick up a couple of them and notice how very different the young and the old are. This is characteristic of mushrooms and toadstools. You can never really be safe just looking at one. Notice in the young one the peak to the dome of the cap and the white stem, a stem that in age or when you crush it goes blue. You can see the colour change very clearly in this older specimen. Slimy on the cap, no ring, and notice that the spore powder which occurs on the gills is a dark purplish black, rather the same as the spore powder on the common mushroom. No cup or any developmental swelling at the base. Those are the characteristics of this particular psilocybe, Psilocybe subaeruginosa.
I think what I like most about magic mushrooms is the excitement of actually trying to find them.
Yeah, especially the way we organised it those couple of times that we went, just parking the car in the next sort of property.
Hiding it.
I heard on the grapevine that they were paying for maps to direct them to this blue mushroom.
Hiding the car, yeah. Just basically waiting till another car's coming, then sort of sprinting across the road, over the fence and into the forest.
In commando style.
Yeah, and of course for the first half an hour you can't see them, your eyes just aren't tuned, are they?
Yeah.
They bring a joy all of their own.
And perhaps even more anciently known is the use of the famous fly agaric that everybody knows, the red mushroom with the white spots on it. The fly agaric is supposed to have been the basis for the Norwegian warriors going berserk after they had become high on eating it. They became even more high if they drank the urine of people who had been eating the fly agaric, because this concentrates and even enhances the effect. The reindeer are supposed to graze on the fly agaric and become wild afterwards. It plays a big part in some of the shamanistic ceremonies of the Northern Hemisphere.
In about 1500 BC, there was a massive migration of Aryan people into the north of India, and they brought with them the cult of Soma, Soma being the magic fly agaric mushroom. And then, out of the cult of Soma arose the religion Hinduism. Right. Now, Hindus don't use magic mushrooms anymore, but their ancient book Rig Veda contains well over 1,000 hymns to Soma. And there's even the theory that Christianity has its roots in a magic mushroom culture, and it's based on fairly metaphorical interpretations of the Old and New Testament, whereby the story of Jesus is in fact a euphemism for the fruiting body of the magic fly agaric mushroom. In other words, Jesus Christ is a mushroom. Well, I reckon it's got to be more than just a coincidence that red mushrooms with white spots have so often been used to illustrate children's books. Now, perhaps the authors and illustrators of children's books have really been drug fiends who have surreptitiously programmed us all from a very young age, and that's why society is so dependent on drugs. And who can forget the unusual effect that eating a mushroom had on Alice? So I reckon the more you think about it, the more you realise that we all have historical, cultural and religious links with magic mushrooms.